Okay, you're live. Okay, you're live. You can start your show. Okay, we're waiting for you, Mrs. Pittman.
Oh, I'm on.
Yes, you're live.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. You are, you are listening to WCEG Network. We are the worldwide community empowerment group where we speak life into the community. Log on to WCEGTalkRadio.com. Watch us live on your smart TV, on the Roku station, cable station channel, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. I'm Ernestine D. Pittman, host of Take a Stand for the next hour. Subscribe free to our YouTube channel, WCEG Network. Like us on Facebook and Instagram. Connect with us on LinkedIn, TikTok, and, and Threads. Download our free WCEG mobile app. Lincoln, listen to WCEG on any of our 12 podcast distribution platforms. Thank you and welcome to the listening audience. We're going to have a great show today. I look forward to you participating in any way that you can. And please listen and tune in and tell your friends. Early voting for the PSC Commission ends this Friday. Voting is Tuesday, June the 17th. You need to go out and vote. If you're concerned about your utilities and you want people on the Public Service Commission to represent you, then you need to go and vote for that person and keep in contact with that person and tell others who do not live with you or in your area. The PSC is statewide and your vote counts. You should know that by now. All right. On Take a Stand today, I want to talk to you about corrupt in local governments. Too often, residents go to the polls and you vote for a person, not knowing anything about that person, never having had a conversation, never contact by email, text, or anything. You go on what a good friend or family member says. You need to start finding out for yourself who are these people. Now is not the time to go and beat yourself up because you're dissatisfied with what is happening in your local government, state government, or the national government. We know what is happening on the national level. We know that the convicted President Trump is not concerned about the working man. He's only concerned about the rich, concerned about his ego, and everybody else, you just on your own to do what you can. And there is a lot that you can do. And let's start with local governments. What can residents do to change the action of that corrupt government? Well, the first thing that comes to mind is to change the elected officials. When that is not expedient or possible, you go to court. Well, residents don't have money to go and hire lawyers to hold their elected officials accountable. Also, local residents don't know what policy, what law, what violations are occurring if no one ever tells you. You need to find your own governing charter. Start listening and asking about the ordinances. Your city clerk will provide you with anything that you ask about your elected officials in your city, except for these three items here. Legal, current legal cases, real estate, and personnel. But if you want to know where is the invoice for whatever activity that went on in your city, you want to know how your money is being spent, and it is your money. It's not the council's money. It's not the city manager's money. It's not the workers' money. It is your money. And that money should be spent to provide services for you, legislation, and to make your life better. Now, in doing so, the mayors, some council members believe that they have special favors that they need to give out once they are elected. Well, that's not true. They should always appoint competent people to committees. They should also act in a manner that is in keeping with their oath of office. If your charter says that your mayor does not have any does not have any administrative authority, that means that your mayor is not supposed to have an office with a staff that's running programs out of that office, unless it is provided somewhere in your charter, which would be a violation of state law, that your council members and mayors have access to their own personal budget, money set aside for them to spend however they want to, without ever a vote in an open meeting where a description of what the money is for and who will be impacted by it. So if someone tells you, well, I have money in my budget, that's not true. They have no budget except for travel, training, and maybe money for constituents representation. Why is this important? When you think about the budget, your governmental budget is the reflection of what mayor and council hope to achieve this year using the money that is in the budget. Now, when you look at that budget, don't become afraid because the book contains 400 pages or 450 pages. You are concerned with those pages where it shows you the money that each department is being allocated and how that money is to be spent according to line items. And the state has the format that must be followed. Looking at any budget, you have the previous year, the current year, and then you have the year that the next year for which the budget is being prepared. You can look at the 2 previous years. If you see any big jump in an expenditure or in revenue, you ought to question it if you don't know where the money's come from, and definitely if you don't know how the money is being spent. Every department will have its own budget, its own line items, expenditures. If you see expenditures that you have a question about, such as administrative allotment, administrative allocation, there is no such thing in the city of East Point, but that is in the budget. In fact, $450,000 in the budget. Since when does a city manager get to have a personal budget? Absolutely not. Same with council members and the mayor. That money that is sitting over there allocated in the budget belongs to the residents. And when you go through the budget and you find line items that you have questions about, and if they contradict any of our policies, ordinances, charter, state, or federal laws, then that money needs to be pulled out and put in another account until it can be addressed as to who is going to get the money. How is this money going to be spent? There are hundreds of thousands of dollars in East Point budget that could be going to address needs of residents. Now, these needs of residents have to be objective. They have to have impact on the community and impact on residents. They cannot be out there for a party. We don't pay for parties in the United States. Even Trump, convicted President Trump, knew that. That's why his inauguration was paid for by corporate funds from his rich friends. Now, if your local government does not have rich friends and corporations that's going to give the city money, not for a bribe, not under the table, then you need to ask, where is the money that is coming into the city legally? How is it being spent? Once you start asking these questions on the local level and looking to see and say, okay, they have the money, they won't answer the questions. What can I do? What can we do to make sure our elected officials are carrying out their official duties according to our charter, ordinances, policies, state constitution, and the federal constitution? And what tool is at our exposure? What tool is there for us to use? Well, that tool is called a writ of mandamus. A writ of mandamus comes under state law, and it says that any resident or residents can file a writ of mandamus, which is a legal civil court suit, can be filed by any resident requesting the court to compel all official duties to be faithfully performed, and whenever from any cause a defect of legal justice would ensue from a failure to perform a form improper performance. There's a law on the book that says that the city has to do certain things. If the city does not do that, then that mayor and council are not following not performing their official duties as stated. Here in East Point, we have a stormwater utility fee. Every parcel of land in the city of East Point has to pay this fee for all the property that is not pure grassland. When the rain comes down, if there's anything between the rain and the ground, that's called impervious surface, you have to pay a stormwater fee. Stormwater runoff can bankrupt a homeowner. It can destroy a community. It can cause mold in homes. It can cause floods every time it rains. And I'm not talking about the 500-year or the 1,000-year rain. Residents in East Point know this. We have more tributaries and more waterways than any city in South Fulton County. East Point is almost on water. When this became a problem, residents could not afford to pay when they bought houses. They were not aware that there were stormwater problems in the areas. When new homes were built, trees were cut down and not all inspectors did their jobs. And consequently, homeowners are faced with sinkholes and floodings, and they don't have the money. So when the city council and mayor got together over 11 years ago and came up with a stormwater utility. There are only two in the state of Georgia. East Point has one and Griffin has one. This said that the city is now responsible for all stormwater problems in East Point. Every year on the tax bill, the stormwater utilities is attached. Although seniors 70 and older do not pay property taxes, they have to pay the stormwater fee. Over 97% of the homes in East Point will never have stormwater problems. But for that 3% that do have stormwater problems or will have them, then they will not have to lose their home, be bankrupt, community in which they live compromised because of stormwater runoff. The stormwater utility is set up in such a manner that no employee, that includes the city manager, can tell any resident the city is not responsible for that your problem, and we are not going to pay it or fix it. Or we'll fix it, but you're going to have to help pay for it. And this is a certain amount of money that you're going to have to pay. The stormwater utility in East Point has what is called an administrative appeals board. That in all the 11 years that it has existed in this city, no mayor or council has ever set up the administrative appeals board. Yet they collect over $2,200,000 a year. They've been doing this for the past 10 years. There's a section in the ordinance that created stormwater utility that says 80% of all monies collected will have to go to that area which oversees private property and stormwater runoff and other things. It also says that when there's a disagreement between the city and the resident concerning how the stormwater problem is going to be resolved, it has to go to this administrative appeals board made up of 9 residents, each appointed by the mayor and the 8 council members. After hearing the city side and the resident side, this administrative appeals board will then make a recommendation to the council that resident will not have to pay anything, and if so, it can be reduced, or the city will have to put the total bill, and it would only be the resident should only pay if some personal action on the part of that resident has helped cause the stormwater problem to exist in the first place. That is, change the flow of water. And that is against state law. We have an 80-year-old veteran here in the city of East Point who has a sinkhole in his front yard from stormwater runoff. Now, the city of East Point wants him to pay $3,000 and the city pays $6,000 in order to get it fixed. This gentleman feels like he shouldn't have to pay anything. And according to our stormwater utility ordinance, He shouldn't. However, he cannot move, cannot even go to court to have the city made to pay for the problem based on our stormwater utility ordinance. And why is that? Our stormwater utility ordinance says that the resident cannot go to Superior Court until all means have been exhausted in resolving the problem. That is, he has to first go before an administrative appeals board that does not even exist. So here he is watching the sinkhole expand. We need to go to court as a city of concerned residents. This is not the only problem that the mayor and council are overlooking. This is not the only ordinance or charter violation, policy violation that our city council and mayor are doing. We have council members and mayors taking trips, unsanctioned trips, not voted on by the council, to go and represent East Point in any fashion or form. Taking trips to Washington, Seattle, Washington, and out of the country to Alaska and elsewhere. The council is not policing itself. It is not holding itself accountable, which is another violation of our policy. We can't go to court and say, well, we want Councilmember John Doe sue. We're going to sue him for doing this or doing that. That goes over there in criminal court. You are on your own with money out of your pocket, paying for the city to do what it is supposed to do, while they pay for an attorney out of the tax money that's sent in for the residents of this city to fight them. That is grossly unfair. So I have proposed, and I hope those of you out there who are looking around in your city, who sees things that needs to be done, money is there, and the city keeps dragging its feet about when we're going to do this or when we're going to do that. But you don't have to put up with that. Get together, like I'm proposing here at East Point, that we get together, hire an attorney to file a writ of mandamus against the mayor and council of East Point for every violation that is an official duty that they are not fulfilling. In doing so, individual behavior of spending money by going to use your city's credit card to go to the grocery store, to buy food and have entertainment, to pay for parties, to pay for events and all, that has nothing to do with governing this city. That is why we have nonprofits. That is why we have authorities. Council members legislate. They do not go out there and administratively spend money that has never been voted on by any council in an open meeting. Council meetings take place at council meetings. Too many mayors and council members are having council meetings outside of the council chambers. And coming to the council chambers, all the minds already made up about what it is they want to do, and they're put it on the consent agenda. Well, that too is a violation of our charter here at East Point. You can't put certain items on the consent agenda if they don't meet the criteria for that. But what are residents to do when you see it up there and you try to bring it to the attention of the council, and you are totally ignored? No allocated budget funding is supposed to be spent in the city of East Point, according to the city charter, unless it is for a multi-year contract, bonds payment, and allocation of $12,500 or less. And that too should have also gone to the purchasing department to make sure that the invoices and all in form are legal. No, and it's for one event. Here in East Point, you can spend $200,000, $300,000, broken up, Lord knows how. And because it was on a line item in the budget, they want to say it is a legal expenditure. It becomes a legal expenditure when it is voted on in a council meeting with invoices from the purchasing department saying, this is indeed for one event, these are the invoices. That is not happening here in our city. Consequently, our children like programs in park and recreation. Our other residents like programs in parks and recreation that can be paid for out of some of these hundreds of thousands of dollars. We have residents who have trees in their yards that need to be cut down, that do not have the money. Some of that money can go to that, and it should be based on need rather than age. There are seniors in the city of East Point who do not need another penny. We're not paying taxes if we're 70 and older. We're house rich, money poor, cash poor. That is no reason for our house and is be destroyed because of a tree that cannot, the resident cannot afford to have cut down. And what happens when that tree falls? The family there may or may not have insurance, taking their time getting it fixed and just walk away. What does that do for the community? The other houses on that street, they lose property value. That becomes a community concern of the city of East Point. It is less costly to cut down a tree than to go to court and try to find owners who have walked away from a property that they did not have insurance on, could not afford, leaving it there abandoned. Then we have these abandoned properties. We have attorneys making $333,000 in 1 year on our 50 worst property list. No way, no way. We don't have the correspondence through open records requests for how this money was earned. We don't have any direction as to where to go to find out that information. So we need a writ of mandamus under the law that says all money spent by local governments has to have a receipt. We don't have a receipt. We don't have a reason why that money was spent, how that money was spent. It can be in the form of cash. It can be in the form of services. However, our city's resources, financial and physical resources are used. There's a law that says how it is supposed to be used and how it is supposed to be recorded. When your local city clerk cannot give you that information, you have a problem. Where is the money? We want to know where is the money. Look up writ of mandamus. Go to the website, go to any informational source, type in Georgia State Constitution, then search for a writ of mandamus. You will find a wealth of information that tells you, provides you with examples where governments, residents have sent in suits, filed suits, why this one was taken and why this one did not fit the bill. Then you can better understand what it is you need to do. And that should help you know that you need to take a stand. Just because your council members and mayor says no, they're not your boss. You are their boss. You and every other resident in the city, whether you voted for them or not, they represent you. And when they do not live up to what they're supposed to live up to in performing their official duties, get out there and protest locally, because that is how you rebel. That's how you refute what they're doing. Everything should not have to go to court. Court should be a last resort. Court costs comes out of residents' pockets. Mayor and council will have immunity that if their names and all are filed in a lawsuit, the city pays for the attorney, unless it is something really, really up there and it's done by an individual or individuals that constitute fewer than a quorum of council members. Well, that is happening here in East Point too, and it is happening in other cities too. The city of South Fulton stood up and enforced some of their policies, ordinances, when they called their mayor to answer for his misdeeds. You're not going to always be able to get the money back because they don't have it. But you can put them on notice to know that if you spend our money not helping us, not having an impact on the city in which we live, we are going to come after you, whether we voted for you or not. And the next time when there is an election, you should know enough to have some confidence and trust in the person for whom you are voting. Look at what we have on the national level. We have a president and his administration. We have the president of the United States and his administration that is saying, we are going to pull back one of former President Biden executive orders. In this country, after Roe versus Wade decision about abortion, the state of Georgia passed a 6-week heartbeat bill that says any woman who is pregnant, after 6 weeks, that woman cannot have an abortion. Now, most women don't even know they're pregnant at 6 weeks. So if a woman is pregnant and it's the 9th or 10th week, and she miscarriages because of which a lifestyle that she's doing, and it's not a negative lifestyle. She doesn't know she's pregnant, so she may go out there and over exercise or do something, whatever, or she just might naturally have a miscarriage, and not knowing that she's pregnant, she starts bleeding, or she goes to the restroom and the body is expelled from the body. Do you know that there are some states here, and whatever foolishness that goes on in some of the other red states, Georgia seems to pick up a ball and rolls and runs with it, that if this happens, that woman can be criminally charged. for misusing, mishandling the dead, or trying to have an abortion that's not sanctioned past the 6 weeks. A woman's reproductive health is everybody's problem in the United States. It's not just a woman's problem. If you think so, if women stop having babies right now, whose problem is it then? It takes two to make a baby, male and female. This is everybody's problem, and especially in the Black community. The highest maternal mortality rate is among Black women. High blood pressure, diabetes. You 6 months pregnant, 8 months pregnant. You had a miscarriage. You didn't cause it. You was trying to take the baby to full term. The body felt that something was wrong, and you miscarried. That is under investigation as to whether or not it is really a miscarriage, that you caused the miscarriage. And then to make things worse, if you go to the hospital, to the emergency room, doctors don't have to treat you. What are you going to do? Are we going to allow women, our daughters, our mothers, our wives, our sisters, our grandmothers, aunts, to go through this silently? Or are we going to take a stand? And taking a stand means more than gossiping about it, talking about it, emailing about it. Yes, do that to help get the information out. Taking a stand in the United States of America that gets things done is called protest. That is why it is in the First Amendment. This country started out on a protest. When Great Britain wanted the United States to pay taxes on tea, they said no. No representation, no taxation without representation. So they threw the tea in the harbor. And here we come with the Revolutionary War. Look how big the problem looks. Look how insurmountable the options were. You're going to go to war. Whether we went to war and we won. When you protest, when you stand up, your cause is right. You will bring others to it. Together, we can do things, all things. Individually, we can start things. One person can start a protest. Walk in front of your city hall meeting on council night, meeting night. Have your sign out there. You and others go out there and demand that this council fulfill its official duties according to your written laws. And a great many of them are laws that they wrote themselves that feel like they are above the law. No one, not even convicted President Trump, is above the law. And people, we need to really look and pay attention to what is happening in our country. Yes, convicted President Trump has sent the Marines and federalized the National Guard in California against protesters. Not rioters, not insurrectionists. He sat there for over 2 hours on January the 6th. People were begging him to call in the National Guard. He did not. That was an insurrection. He has gone, he and his team, and the Federalists before them, and found every law that they could find that would give them the least little a rope to go in and start infringing and taking and suspending individual rights in this country. Are we going to be, are we going to have immigrants wearing some kind of mark or carrying some kind of pass to show that they are here illegally? If they're rounded up and rounded up, put on a plane and sent out to the country without so much as a due process hearing. Now we know what the slaves went through. We know that the mark that they had to have if we were a runner. We know what the Fugitive Slave Act is. And they want to call it by a different name now. If you are an immigrant, they want to say you are here illegally, therefore you are a criminal. And that all the people out there in California in these raids, they are out there rounding up criminals. The definition for a criminal ought to be the same for everybody in this country. You are a criminal if you perform acts A, B, C, D. And then what level of criminality will these acts carry? If you're here on a visa, if you're here with a green card, you are here legally. If you're a week behind, make it going to report that you are still here and what have you, yes, you are violating that. But does that mean that you need to be picked up, put on a plane, and taken to another country, to another continent, Africa or South America? No. Them now, you later. No one is immune. Here we have a president, convicted or not, who wants to spend over $30 million on a parade. Money that they said we could not afford to have to pay for children lunch and breakfast at school. Money that they said that we do not have that would help seniors stay in senior citizens facilities that they're going to have to come out of and go where? This is what we're looking at here in America. Over $30 million will be the cost of housing and taking care of the Marines and National Guard in California. That's $60 million. That was not in the budget. That was not allocated. Where did they go and find it? Because Dodge has not lived up to its promise that there was enough waste and fraud in the United States that would justify all of the firings and the closing down of businesses and all in order to get money to keep a tax in place that was passed in 2017 by convicted President Trump. They want to make them permanent and increase the deficit to over $2.8 trillion that working men and women are going to have to pay for because the rich are exempt. There's a difference in a man making $10 a day and one making $100 a day. Now put that out there for what is really happening. Millions, we have millionaires are cropping up, not by the dozens, but by the hundreds. Working man, you're going down. You're losing jobs because of technology and AI and the tariffs out there, while rich get richer and the poor gets poorer. Where is this money coming from that's going to pay for this parade and pay for all these people out there in California, the California governor and the mayors did not ask for, just so Trump will have you stop talking about he and Musk fury, about his big, beautiful bill that is a noose around the common man's neck, which is put a firebrand to our Constitution. And you're sitting back, and unfortunately, there are many blacks who are saying, I didn't vote, and I'm sitting this one out. Well, I would like to know, when were you asked to call to do something and you set it out that was a monumental value to the impacts of this country? Because most of the ones I'm talking to, you are younger than I am, and you were not graduating from anybody's high school in 1964. So where in the hell did you stand up? You were not in the civil rights movement. You were not back there in slavery. You were not with Nat Turner. You did not fight in the Civil War. You did not fight in World War I, or World War II, Korean War, or the Vietnam War. No, you can say, well, I went to Iraq, I went to and fought there. Yes, you did. And look what things you're getting. Instead of veterans getting a fair shake, there's a cut. Funds are being cut. Homeless vets, vets with mental illnesses, because of medicine. You are now coming back home from foreign wars in all kinds of physical conditions. Handicapped beyond measure. Research is being cut so that medicine and science that can go out and look for cures, look for, if not, look for means of reducing your pain. Look for means that you can use in your body to make movement, to have movement that you would not have had otherwise. This is not just about you sitting up, not getting what you want. You didn't build any roads by yourself. You didn't build that school that you went to. You didn't build the grocery store that's in your community that you go in and take stuff out and do what you shouldn't be doing until it moves out, not caring what it took to get it there in the first place. You're not teaching any children. You're not mentoring them, but you're going to sit it out. Who are you to sit out and have others go out and put anything on the line for you? Wake up, America. Blacks, you are an American. Being black, you don't have any special privileges. You're not going to get any special entitlements. You're not going to get what you don't fight for. And there are whites in the same boat. It's class, not race, that is tearing this country apart. Welfare did not come about because of blacks. Tier 1 programs did not come about because of blacks. We're not 12% of the total population. But everything that goes wrong, when something comes up, they're going to make it race, black, white. And we buy into that foolishness. Yes, racism exists in America, but classism exists even more and impacts even more. And all of us are paying the price. In your local government, where your majority of mayor and council members are black or white, what is the problem then? Where's the racism? You mean to tell me in cities like East Point, College Park, Hateville, City of South Fulton, Chattahoochee Hills, and wherever else, Parramatta? What's the problem? You said we can't get affordable housing. in my city. Why aren't these councils, mayor and council, and individuals in the community working together to try to come up with solutions? Yes, the first, when you walk into a bank, your black face is differentiated from a white face. Your mortgage is going to be higher to pay off for the mortgage, help pay for the mortgage that they're going to get that's lower. That will keep happening until something is done about it. But in the meantime, let's get some houses. Let's get teachers in classrooms. Let's get food back into the schools. Children can't learn if they're hungry. Children are not going to keep going to school if they're falling behind in school because they're out of school more than they're in school trying to work. If the parents sick, can't get money, can't get paid for a day off. Let's look to see the root causes of these problems and start working on those. And let's start by protesting this coming Saturday when the convicted President Trump has his parade and his birthday party and his ego stroke. Every city in the United States ought to be out there protesting against it. Now, what are you going to be doing in your city on this coming Saturday? I am hopeful that the people of East Point and all of you others out there too, at the time of the parade, you come out of your house as one. If you can't do any better, get a sign, stand in your yard. Go and join others on the sidewalks. Go to a gathering place. Find a parade, a protesting parade. No, what is happening here in the United States should not be happening. Since when did we tell a country that is one of our allies, you are acting like two children fighting, and we're going to let you fight until you wear out? That is what we told the people of Ukraine. America, are we going to let this man take everything away from us for people who died of all races, creed, and colors on foreign soil? People who have come back here, home to the country that they went out there and fought for in another country. And to be told that we are not going to keep funding or have benefits for you because it's costing too much. A bone spur kept me from going out to fight. But you went out there and fought, and now here you are, crippled, in a wheelchair, can't sit up in a bed. You don't have houses to accommodate you when you're released from the hospital. You don't have enough medical facilities for you. But come time, wartime, 4th of July, oh, we all out there partying, having a good time. At what cost? And who paid the price? When are we able-bodied Americans going to do what we know what we should do and stop sitting back saying, well, somebody, I want you to find that person called somebody. Everybody is looking for somebody because that's the one that's always standing up. Somebody ought to do something about it. Well, why don't you tell that somebody that you know to do something about it? I would tell him, he or she, if I knew. But since I can't, I have to still do. I'm 79 years old. I've been out there a community active since I was 16 years old. The poor does not frighten me. I'm attracted to them. Because I am poor. As long as we have one poor person in the United States, who cannot get medical care, who cannot find affordable housing, who cannot find a job and work it with dignity, who cannot walk down the street unafraid, then we are all poor in spirit. In spirit. As long as I have spirit within my body, I am going to fight. You should be out there fighting. You should stand up for something and stop falling for nothing. Stop being the town crier of bad news. Start being the town crier with a protest sign. On this Saturday, you should go out there and protest. I don't care where you are. Pop up and do it. Do you think Elon Musk got all upset, he and Tesla, because of Trump? No. They're all upset because of the money they have lost, because of the protests of Americans in front of their businesses in the street. He lost $34 million. Tesla did. Worldwide, United States wide, that product said we put you out of business. Did you go out there one day and protest? Did you stop buying Tesla cars or products? What did you do to contribute to it? What are you doing now to contribute to anything that is going on in this country, in your city? Stand up. Take a stand. Be a man. Be a woman. We have children. We are elderly. What are you going to do? Are you going to sit back and have women die in childbirth? Women die from miscarriages that they did not cause because the hospitals and doctors are afraid to take them in. And now, every day, more and more legislation is being passed by predominantly white males in this country about women's reproductive health. It's a healthcare problem. Don't let it happen to you and then you start carrying. It's too late then. You're going to the cemetery distraught, laying all over the tomb, saying you didn't understand and you didn't know. Poppycock. What is that doing? They don't need your tears to water any flowers there. They needed your feet and a sign and a voice before that happened. And just don't be on the street protesting. Be out there telling people wherever you see them. Educate yourself and then you can educate others. We need to find ways of communicating with everybody. The election is over. We don't have to start off with where you all set up there and voted for. You all did it. We are all paying that price now. They ought to know that. But is it getting anything changed? What are you doing to get it changed? That person that you're talking to, how many folks did they take to the poll on voting day when they went? And how many did you take on that day you went to the poll, if you went? There was no landslide vote. There was no mandate for Trump. Of all the polls, of all the people who went to the polls and voted, more of them did not vote for Trump. They voted against Trump. And that they didn't vote for him, or they voted outright for some against him, or they just skipped over. He did not get 50% of the popular vote. That's half. If you don't get half, then you don't talk and brag. Half wants you, half didn't. So we break out even. But when it's less than half that wanted you, they didn't want you, then you can't call it a mandate. And since words are so important to him, when it's convenient for him, he goes around it. And he does it well. Anytime you say the same thing over and over again, a weak mind is going to buy into it, whether it's true or not. So we need to make sure it's the truth that's being said over and over again. And you're not going to get that by looking up. I don't know where you're going to get your information. But learn to talk to others. Even people my age, we need to talk to other people. People change. Things change. I have changed. I am still a Democrat. Now let's talk a minute about that because my time is about up. I am so sick and tired of people saying, but what the Democrat Party is doing. If you're not a dues paying Democrat to the DNC or to a Democrat already elected in office, then you are not a Democrat. It takes money to run campaigns. It takes volunteers and their time to go canvassing and to show up at polling places. If you're not doing any of that, you're not a Democrat. So what are you doing? All you independents out there. We have two parties in this country, Republican and Democrats. Magna Republicans and Democrats. The Democratic candidates in the last election, everything they were for, Trump was against, and it shows out now. You did not have a single Democrat talking about, we are going to reduce this, we're going to unfund this and unfund that. They were telling you that this is going to happen if the Republicans win. And they did. They won. So now all you Democrats out there, if you're independent, you don't get to sit on the sidelines and throw stones at people who are Democrats. I am a card-carrying Democrat. I pay and send money in to the DNC every month through Act Blue. I support candidates in other states who are running for office because of their ideas, and we need them in the Senate. We need them in the House. In my own state, here in Georgia, we have people, and we as Democrats, as well as Republicans, are guilty of this. You are an incumbent, you live in an area that's been voting democratically, as Republican, but I don't know how many years one comes up. You don't hear from that person till election time. That's on us. We get what we demand. We get what we demand. So if you want to know what the Democrats think about doing, what the Democrats are doing, or thinking about doing, why don't you go get with some Democrats? You have the state of Georgia Democratic Party. You have county Democratic parties, membership groups. Why don't you get up and do something? And if you don't think they're doing a good enough job, get in there and work to change it. Then you can talk about what the Democrats are doing. The Democrats don't have any ideas about how to turn this around. No, I will never go along with what Trump is doing. I am a law-abiding citizen. I am not a lawbreaker. I have not always voted for Democrats, even though I am one. I vote for the one who I feel is going to do the best job and who's working for my best interests. And when it comes to a party, it has been a Democratic Party. But when it comes to individual members in that, I look at that. You have Democrats who sits up there, just like Republicans are doing there. What are they doing? How did they get there? We sent them there. These are our workers. These are our representatives. Now, what are you going to do about it? Are you pleased? Are you happy with what you see? If you're not happy, do something about it. Stand up. You should stand up for something. And then put your boots on the ground and your feet in the streets. If you're too good and too highfalutin to do that, then keep your mouth shut and get out of the way of someone who's doing it. We don't have any, Trump is not a king, and we don't have any kings and queens in these communities either. I'm not your serf, I'm not your peasant. Just because I get out there and work like a slave, trying to put out information, trying to get things done, along with hundreds and thousands of others, and you sitting on the sideline critiquing, turning up your nose, turning to the side. Oh, here comes the hell race. Here comes the one that's always wanting to do this and wanting to do that. You better be on your knees and say your prayers every night, thanking God for these hell races and trailblazers, because you are not out there doing it. You are not Moses, and neither am I. But the 10 Commandments that came down, that you call yourself a Christian and filling up the churches with on Sunday, you need to go back and find out what they really mean. And those of us who know, we need to start letting others know, and by the works that we do and not by our words. Words are hollow, worthless, unless they are followed by deeds. And all great things that's come about from somebody who was out there working. And they know what they're talking about. As my late uncle used to say, a good run is better than a bad stand any day. So are you a coward for running? A dead coward has never mattered, but it did not have to end that way. No, a good run is better than a bad stand every day. A bad stand occurs after what should have been done was not done, and is now looking at the results of having been done. And what did you do to stop it? And what are you going to do now? Stop living in the past. It's gone. You're not going back and change any of it. Let's go with the future and the present. What we do today will determine more of what will happen tomorrow, not what happened yesterday. I hope that you have gained or learned something from this hour of your time, because that's an hour of your time you will never get back. And I would not have wanted to have you used it or felt like it was wasted because of something that I said, when you could have been listening or doing something that's going to improve your lot in life, and therefore is going to improve mine. Stay tuned. Keep tuned to WCEG. Every second and third Tuesday during the summer, I will be with you from 4 to 5. I look forward to speaking with you and conversing with you. Please feel free to write any reviews about what is said and what you would like to hear talked about. If it's Pittman, she's going to tell you like it is. You may not like how I say it, but you better believe it's not a lie. It's documented. And if it's the lie, only if the document's a lie. And I will always give those to you. You may go to my website, www.EarnestineDPittman.com. But please visit one of the local news media outlet for WCEG. We look forward to hearing from you. Thank you, and have a good